Funding for this program was provided in part by Bruce Foods Corporation, makers of distinctive Louisiana food products like the complete line of Cajun King seafood seasoning mixes. Additional funding was provided by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Anytime, any place, in Louisiana, we're really cooking.
Louisiana. Hi, I'm Chef John Folse, welcoming you to the bayous of South Louisiana. Today, Cajun and Creole cooking holds a prime spot in the world of international cuisine, and I would love for you to know a little bit about it. So why not relax, kick back, and join me and a few of my friends as we cook up a Louisiana Thanksgiving. Louisiana chefs sure are lucky to cook in these lush green bayous. But you know, I've even brought Cajun and Creole cuisine around the world, having cooked in Beijing, Moscow, Paris, and chances are pretty good I've even cooked in your own hometown here in America. Showcasing our unique cuisine internationally has earned me the title of Louisiana's ambassador to the world. Today I'd like to share with you some of Louisiana's great holiday dishes. Cajun and Creole specialties such as Louisiana pecan rice dressing, Cajun candied yams, seafood stuffed melliton, and of course our famous oven-roasted suckling pig are just a few of the things that we're going to talk about today. But first, where did this cuisine originate? When the French refugees arrived here in Louisiana in 1755, the Acadians, or Cajuns as we're known today, quickly borrowed cooking techniques from the Germans and Indians already living here in the bayous. Using the swamp floor as our pantry, great dishes such as jambalaya and seafood gumbo began to emerge from the black iron pots of the Cajuns. The Creoles, on the other hand, were the blue blood aristocracy of the city of New Orleans. These second-born sons from all the nations of Europe settled the city in 1690 and brought with them not only their spices, but the cooks to create their new dishes. I guess it's safe to say that the Creoles developed the art of fine dining here in Louisiana. Yes, two unique cultures living side by side laid the very foundation for today's American cuisine. Here in South Louisiana, every event is a social event. Holidays and celebrations are always spent with friends and family, each bringing their favorite dish cooked and ready for the table, and of course claiming that that dish is the finest to be found in all of Bayou country, and chances are pretty good they're right. Whether rejoicing the baptism of a newborn child or mourning the passing of a loved one, every event in the life of a Cajun and Creole revolves around food. When planning my Thanksgiving menu, nothing gets the creative juices flowing faster than an early morning walk in the garden. As you can see, the fall crop is ripe and ready for harvest. Here we have a basket of Louisiana yams ready to be candied with the natural sugars of figs and muscadines, those little purple grapes that grow here wild in the bayous. This wonderful technique was borrowed from the native Indians almost 200 years ago. Here growing on the old cypress fence is the premier vegetable of the Cajuns and Creoles. The Chayote Squash, or vegetable pear as you may know it, is known here in South Louisiana simply as melliton. The melliton came with the Cajuns in 1755, some say. Others say it came from South America. But who cares? When stuffed with ground ham and shrimp, this little vegetable becomes a delicacy on the holiday table. No Thanksgiving table would be complete in South Louisiana without the suckling pig, or cochon de lait as we know it. And there's as many methods of cooking it as there are people who cook it. My favorite way is inside of the Cajun microwave, the wooden oven, fired on top with coals or any kind of firewood. Now, I didn't just wake up one morning knowing how to cook the suckling pig. I got the instruction from one of the finest Cajun cooks in Bayou country, my own daddy. Daddy, what's your favorite way of cooking the cochon de lait?
John, you ought to know. The old clay oven, there's nothing better than an old clay oven to make a suckling pig.
I've been watching this pig on our Thanksgiving table for about 30 or 40 years. How long does the tradition go back in Louisiana to have one of these pigs at Thanksgiving?
Well, I've been watching my grandfather, and I guess it goes back to his great-grandfather 150 years ago.
Yeah, probably from the time the Cajuns got here. Probably. I see you have all of the seasonings on the table. How would you season this pig?
Well, you know, I like to season my pig well. I use a good bit of garlic salt, you know, and a lot of regular table salt, and a little bit black pepper, and I usually like to make it hot. I use a lot of Louisiana cayenne pepper, you know. And then my little secret is I like to add a good Louisiana sugarcane syrup. I glaze it with that syrup, and John, that make it perfect.
Boy, I tell you what, I knew you had a secret because your pig is always fantastic. How long would you cook this pig in this old oven?
Well, this pig weighs about 10 pounds. I say about an hour for every 5 pounds of meat.
Yeah, so about 2
hours. 2 hours, about 2 hours.
Well, good. I'm going to help you put it right inside of this nice old clay oven. We're going to slide it right in there, right next to the fire, and that fire feels like it's about 500 degrees. And in 2 hours, I want you to bring this pig back into the kitchen and we'll take a look at it. Now, I know good and well that you probably don't have this old clay oven in your backyard, and probably you won't find a Cajun microwave back there. But if you come into my kitchen, I'll show you a more contemporary way of doing it. Daddy, I'll see you in a couple hours.
Look at him going again, forgetting to close the oven. Just like him.
I have such great fun cutting up with Daddy in the backyard in his old clay oven. But when it comes to serious cooking, I want to be right here in my kitchen. You know, I was thinking the other day just how many cultures have the suckling pig as part of their holiday table. You know, over in Japan, there's a real tradition of cooking suckling pig. In Hawaii, it's cooked underground in a pit. And over in China, they put the actual honey and plum sauce on top of it, and it becomes a delicacy. But I love the Louisiana suckling pig better than any I've ever tasted. And I don't want anybody to be afraid to walk into their supermarket or local butcher shop and say, "Hi, I want you to order me a suckling pig." 10 pounds is about the size that you need to go into your home-style oven. And when seasoning the pig, you use your own traditional seasonings. Whatever you would normally season your turkey or ducks or anything else for the holiday, go ahead and try it out on your suckling pig. Here in Louisiana, we have some little techniques that we like to use, and I'll show those to you right now. I'm going to begin by chopping up some celery, and of course I'll do it in broad strokes, about 1-inch size celery pieces, and drop it into the pot. And I'm cooking the pig in one of these old black iron roasters, which I'll tell you about in just a second. Here I'm dicing some carrots and putting the nice sweet carrots in here because there's a lot of natural sugar in the carrots, and that'll help glaze the suckling pig. And then orange slices, because the nice citrus flavor of the orange, which we grow a lot of here in Louisiana, is perfect for the holiday suckling pig. And I'll cut it in quarters and make sure that those quarters surround the pig, and the natural drippings will make a nice orange glaze around the bottom. Of course, when it comes to the actual seasonings, I'm going to start by putting just a little bit butter on top of the back of the little pig. And then I know you know Daddy's secret, and I made sure I remember that. I'm going to put a little bit of the Louisiana cane syrup, because the syrup in the orange will in fact make a nice glaze, just like the plum sauce and the honey that they use in China. Look how nice this is right here. And on top of that, naturally, the cracked black pepper, the salt, and of course, again, any seasonings that you would normally use on the turkey is what you want to use here. I'm going to put a little paprika to help this pig get a nice, even color, and look how nice it looks already. Now, I've got a surprise. Inside of this pig is our famous Louisiana pecan rice dressing, which I'll tell you about in just a second. Here, the oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and I'll go ahead and open that up. And I'm going to slip the pig into the oven for about 2 hours. Oh, boy, look how nice this looks. And I'll slide it on in. And I'll check the temperature. Yep, there it is, 375. And the pig will cook again 1 hour for every 5 pounds. So this pig will actually sit in the oven for about 2 hours. Now for the pecan rice dressing. We find ourselves here again with the old iron skillet. This black iron skillet you'll see me using a lot of because I really enjoy the old 200-year-old style of cooking, just like that clay oven did. And this skillet heats up nice and evenly. And what I'll do again, to start the pecan rice dressing, I'll put in a little bit butter because we want to get those seasonings sauteing quickly. And into the butter, once it starts to melt, you see how hot this skillet gets, and that's why I like to use it. These skillets must be 200 years old here in Louisiana, and they've been handed down from generation to generation, and I'm the keeper of the skillet now, so I have to take good care of it. Into the skillet, we're going to start with the Louisiana seasonings again. Onions, about 1 cup. We're going to throw in a little celery, naturally, because we have to have a lot of that great Louisiana flavor. Into that garlic. I like a lot of garlic in everything I cook, so I'll put about 2 or 3 nice tablespoons. Into that, a little bit green bell pepper. And boy, it's starting to sizzle right now, and I'll stir that around some. And we're going to come in with a little ground beef and ground pork. The beef holds its texture nicely in the saute pan, whereas the pork gives it the nice juiciness that we're looking for in a Louisiana rice dressing. So I'll put about a half a pound each into the skillet, move that around nicely, and boy, look at that sizzle. I'll stir that in because we want to get all of the onions and celery and bell pepper and garlic cooked into the meat. Now I would season this with a little cracked black pepper, help it along with a little bit salt, and this will cook here for about a half hour. But what I'm going to do is trade skillets with one that's already halfway along for you. Look how nice that's come out. And into that I'll put a little bit of crawfish tails, and in Louisiana we love to marry meat and seafood, and you're going to see that happening time and time again on your trips to Louisiana. The crawfish goes into the ground beef and pork mixture, and now for those beautiful colors that you always like to see. Red bell pepper. Now this is the sweet pepper, not the hot pepper. Not a lot of heat in our dishes, even though a lot of people feel there may be. Look how nice that comes out. Into that, green onions. Again, looking for that great color on a holiday dish. I'm going to come back and put some great fresh pecans. We grow a tremendous amount of pecans here in Louisiana, and I'm going to put pecans in the dish. After all, this is called Louisiana pecan rice dressing. Look at the colors in this dish. If you can imagine ever seeing anything this pretty on a holiday table. Now, the meat is already cooked, and so is the crawfish. The crawfish is steamed and ready to go. The pecans are cooked, and we want to keep the vegetables nice and crunchy. So, of course, we won't overcook them. Once we get it all into the pan and we see that steam coming out, we're going to mix the white rice right into it. This is already cooked, and I'll put about an equal part of rice to the meat. We'll move this around in the skillet just to cover it up. Look how pretty this is. And again, right toward the finish, I'm going to add a little bit more of the coloring to make sure that the dish is beautiful when it hits the buffet table. This dish was given to us many years ago by the Germans who came to Louisiana about 1690, and they were famous for their dressings and stuffings. And this is just one of the dishes that we borrowed from those innovative German settlers about 1690. Look how beautiful this dish is. I'll put a little more of the red bell pepper, a little more of the yellow pepper. Look how pretty that is. And of course, I'll finish it with fresh parsley. And I'll put that into the serving bowl. Gee, look at the color in this dish. Everything just needs to be heated to the right temperature because everything is already cooked, and we'll move it right into the serving bowl. Now, this dish will go directly onto the buffet table for the guests to serve themselves with. This is also inside of a little suckling pig that's cooking away in the oven as we speak. And I always set a separate bowl of the pecan rice dressing next to the pig just in case there's not enough in there for the guests to enjoy a great serving of it. I don't want anybody running short of food at my Thanksgiving dinner. So we'll serve the bowl of pecan rice dressing right there on the counter. Now, I guess my favorite dish in South Louisiana for Thanksgiving is the Cajun Candid Yams. And I tell you what, I've got a recipe that I'm going to show you in just a minute for this, but I would like for you to take a trip on into the city of New Orleans and visit with the greatest Creole cook that lives there, a great friend of mine, Leah Chase, who's going to show you her favorite recipe for melliton. I'll see you back in just a second.
In New Orleans or in the South, we never go to dinner when our friends invite us empty-handed. So John likes everything just so I thought my best thing would be the melliton, or as we say in Creole, melliton. So here we have one, nice one, good and green. So what you want to do is take this seed out. Cut it here and just take this seed out, place it in the water like so. See? Just cut it away just that way. I'm happy that John invited me, really. I'm proud to be able to do something. He's such a great cook. I don't know if I can suit him, but we'll try real hard with this melliton. And after you put them on to boil, as Cleo just did, we're going to take them out. See, you cook them till they're this consistency, just soft enough to work with. Then you're going to take them, scrape it all out. You want to scrape it out, not too much because you don't want your skin too thin, and then they won't hold up when you stuff it. See, just like this. This we call stuffed melliton. Creoles stuff everything. Mellitons, bell peppers, people, we just stuff things. So now we're going to do a little butter here. Put a little butter there. Oh, that's good and hot. And we're going to add the onions. Saute a little onions here. Let those onions saute until they are clear. We add a little ham and mince it to this consistency. You don't want to have too big of hunks in there, and you want to have enough ham to taste, but then not too much. Okay, then we go with a little shrimp. Just chop your shrimp up a little bit. Won't take your shrimp very long to cook either. Okay. Then you can put your melliton. Your melliton that you have scraped out of the shells. You want to get this in so all the seasoning and all the flavors can blend. Let's get it all in there. And you want a little green onion there. Because I don't cook anything unless I have green onion. Just a little bit. Can the camera smell? It's beginning to smell real good. As it's simmering, you want to just put a little pinch of garlic, not too much. You want just a little smidgen of salt. Then always thyme. This is dried whole thyme leaves, so you want to put a little bit in there. And you can't cook Creole or Cajun unless you put a little cayenne pepper. Maybe John would put a little bit more pepper than I would. Cajuns do put a little hot pepper. We don't. We just give you a little wine. Then you know you're going to have to add some breadcrumbs to tighten it up. And you want to just mix it up. See, you got a good consistency here. So you can just bring your pot over here. See what it looks like once it's done. It even looks pretty. You can take your parsley, put in there like so, see? The parsley is going to cook up enough, but I like it to just stay a little green and you get that good parsley taste in there, okay? And you want to take your shells like this, fill them. Then if John has that good roast pork that we always have around Thanksgiving time and that I know he can do just perfect, this is a perfect accompaniment for that. Then here's what you want to do, just to give it a little color. We like color. Just take a little paprika, mix with the breadcrumbs like so. Sprinkle the top. And you want to moisten that top just with a little bit of butter. Now, after about 15 minutes in the oven at 350 degrees, you want to take it out and serve them. They're great. I'll see you at dinner, John. Leah and her melliton.
Leah, that's the best-looking melliton I've ever seen, and I tell you, I can't wait to sink my teeth into them. Now, the yams have already been boiled. I guess they sat in the pot about 20 minutes, and I've reserved about 1.5 quarts of the liquid. And now I'll make the natural syrup that's going to go on top of the yams before baking. I'm going to put a little touch of cinnamon, not too much, but of course season according to your liking again. A little bit nutmeg. Now you can put in red grapes, apples, or whatever fruits are indigenous to your area. I'm going to put in muscadines and figs, those great little fruits that's growing wild in the bayous this time of year. And we'll cook them just for about 10 minutes to get the natural sugars out of the fruit and into the sauce. Now what we'll do is to help that sugar along, I'll put a little bit of the Louisiana cane syrup into the pot. And man, I tell you, I wish you could smell this. It smells so great. I'll bring it back to a boil, and it'll take, I guess, about 10 minutes to release all of the natural sugars into the dish. But I'm going to do one other thing, add a little bit of that wild muscadine wine that a friend of mine gave me just about a week ago. And I tell you, I'm going to take this back into the kitchen and taste it just in a couple minutes. I'm going to, absolutely fantastic. Now what I'll do, I'll let this sit for just a second, and I'll check what's going on inside of this oven. Oh boy, look at this. What a masterpiece. Oh boy, I tell you. Look at here, look at here. This will beat a turkey any day. Look how nice and golden brown all over the top. It makes such a wonderful centerpiece. I'll put it right into the serving tray. And I tell you, look at that. And of course, the garnishing is very, very important. So what I'll do, I'll put a little hat on top of its head. And then, of course, a little star right there. And maybe a little red flower right on top of his back. Maybe a little yellow one, too, because this, after all, will be the centerpiece for the Thanksgiving table. A little apple right in there. Now, the yams are just about, the syrup is just about done for the yams. So I'm going to go ahead and put that natural syrup right on top of the yams into the baking dish. I wish you could smell this. This is absolutely wonderful. I'll put just enough to cover the top of the yams, and this will go into the oven, I guess for about 10 minutes. Oh boy, at about 375 degrees. And it won't take very long to get this thing rolling again. And
I'm glad I remember to close that oven door, or else we'd be here another 2 hours.
Boy, I tell you what, you've done it again. I've said 100 times, you cook the best pig in the world. Look how nice this thing is.
Yours look pretty good too, John.
Well, you know, I had a real good teacher, let me tell you. Well, look, Daddy, the guests are about to arrive, so what I would like for you to do is to take your little pig out into the dining room and start to slice it, and I'm going to meet you in there in just a couple minutes. Go ahead and slice it, put it on a platter so that everybody can start to enjoy it. There you go, and I'll beat you right out there. Look how beautiful this suckling pig is. You know, if you don't like this, you have no business eating in South Louisiana. Come on, let's go have a Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, isn't that nice? Got a pretty decoration, huh? Yes, it's real, huh? It took about 3 hours to cook that. Great looking. Leah, how you doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, John. Brought your favorite dish, melliton.
Oh, look, I can't wait to sink my teeth in this. Hey, Cleo, good to see y'all. Come in and get a glass of wine. Hey, Mary, how are you? Hey, good to see y'all today. everything, Leah?
Oh, John, fine. Thank you for inviting me. It's beautiful.
As you can see, we in South Louisiana have so much to be thankful for. Good friends, great food, and the will to share it with everybody. As we say here in Bayou Country, laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. How's everything here? How's everything? Huh? All right, I want to toast everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. To good food and good friends. Happy Thanksgiving.
Funding for this program was provided in part by Bruce Foods Corporation, makers of Bruce's Yams and other fine products that always mean good taste Louisiana style. Additional funding was provided by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, who invites you to sample our menu any time of the year. To know what's cooking, just give us a call.
Chef John Folse has written a cookbook that allows you to explore the exciting world of Louisiana cuisine. The Evolution of Cajun and Creole Cuisine is a full-color 352-page book containing food history and recipes for gumbo, jambalaya, makshu, and other Cajun dishes. For your copy, send a check or money order for $22.95 to Louisiana Public Broadcasting, 7860 Anselmo Lane, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70810. Or use your credit card by calling toll-free 1-800-973-7246.